Well, hello and good day, beautiful people. I'm just curious if anyone else out there feels like they have to pick a side or you're being put on a side. It's very interesting what's happening in the world. And from a martial arts perspective, you learn how to defend yourself and you also learn about bullies. A lot of people get into martial arts because they get beat up or they get oppressed or they get hurt. And a lot of people are being hurt right now. And one of the things they teach you when you get good at martial arts is to get out of a situation. And so right now, with what's going on, it's very hard because if you pick a side, then you're going to possibly lose some friends. I lost some friends from the beginning and it was really tough. And it was challenging because when I was doing the research on coronavirus and I'd have my own views and I would want to share the resources and where I got that information from, they wouldn't look at it. They would just say, oh, that's nonsense, blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't look. They would not one person look at the information and have a two-way debate because they were in fear and they were in different states of mind. So if I were to present this information, I lost friends because I presented that information, that I valued them as individuals to get their perspective and opinion on it, not to convince them right or wrong. They posted something. I posted something else that I felt was a stronger argument, and they wouldn't look at it, and I got a response that never looked at the argument. And so if I just stay quiet, which so many people are doing. They're staying quiet. More people are speaking out now, but they're they're stay quiet because if you present your truth authentically, you've picked a side. You've picked a side to share an opposing view. And the only way to not pick a side is for me to bend the knee, to basically say, you know what? All the other stuff that I've looked at, like, although it makes sense to me and that I can make a great argument for it and that I'm open to your opinion, but like this is a strong evidence. The only way for me to not pick a side is to bend a knee to your side. And then I'm still picking a side. I'm picking your side that wants to oppress people and doesn't want free speech and doesn't want open debate and doesn't want to investigate the coronavirus or any other different claims or anything else. So we have this divide going on and it's so intense and it's so challenging. So how the heck can we not pick a side? And I'm reminded of a few different things. I'm reminded of, Aikido. Aikido is a martial art where you're basically, you're going with the attacker's energy. So you're trying to redirect the energy. So you're not going toe to toe. You're trying to kind of move with the energy, and they're doing it in a way which is really, really beautiful. I'll read it. It says, Aikido is a modern Japanese martial arts developed by Morai Yushiba, probably butchered that, as a synthesis of his martial arts studies, philosophy, and religious beliefs. His goal was to create an art that practitioners could use to defend themselves while protecting their attackers from injury. How beautiful is that? And Aikido is often translated as the way of unifying life energy or the way of harmonious spirit. And I think that's incredibly beautiful. And what's going on right now that I've seen in communities and social media and Facebook, it's like if I post some information and people don't agree with it, they get really upset. They might lose me as a friend and all that kind of stuff and be really upset and also throw tomatoes at me. But on this side over here, you're welcome to your beliefs. I just don't want to believe them too, right? And so how do we not have this divide? How can we stand in our own sovereignty and our own truth without offending someone else or picking a side? And this is where we need to start thinking about some 5D chess moves or 3D. If you only see 2D, you need a third perspective. We need to be creative with these solutions, to be creative with how we can share our truth and but also not lose our friends. But at the same time, that if you can't share your truth and somebody is going to remove you from their life, that is some growing that they need to do, because everyone that I know who is sharing their truth and being open and transparent and humble and, you got to fact check me, because you got to look at everybody's information and do your own thinking. You got to fact check everybody, but there's going to be a time where you say, hey, Matt, you were incorrect over here, or this wasn't right. And I have to be humble enough to say, wow, yeah, I wasn't correct, or I didn't have the full story about that, or this new information has allowed me to change my mind. We can have an open debate, or you were flat out wrong. And those ones always hurt. You're like, oh man, I was so wrong about that. That sucks. So we can have this open debate without attacking each other. And it's so important right now. And I'm reminded, and the Native American culture, studying with several different Native Americans, what they told me was that the grandmothers would give permission to go to war. And so why would a grandmother give permission to go to war? Well, it's when you're being oppressed, when you need to protect. And in martial arts, you can protect. And ideally, you don't want to harm them. Ideally, you can just run away in any kind of situation. And I'll just put on my hat here because we're getting more serious. But, you know, you want the option to run away. And so if somebody's attacking me and I want to get out of here, I can sprint fast in the other direction. And one of my buddies, I think, you know, we're in the younger days, and I was giving him a hard time as you know, doing martial arts. And I think I said something. He goes, I can run faster scared than you can mad. And I always thought that that was hilarious, but it's true. You can run faster scared than usually the other person can mad. But in martial arts, if you're trying to get me, I'm looking for a way out. I don't want to combat this. But at the same time, if you're looking at something in this amazing book, the Bhagavad Gita as it is, one of the densest books I've ever read. The whole thing is about Arjuna going to war. And one of the quotes in there that really stuck out to me, he said, he's talking about nonviolence. And he says, Arjuna, I think, and he goes, most people believe nonviolence is not harming someone physically. And he goes, but when you live in the realm of Maya or illusion, then when you don't offer them the truth, you're actually causing harm because you don't give them an opportunity to break out of that illusion. And what a powerful statement that is. And so, you know, when we think about what's going on, it's how can we stand in our truth, but also not offend. But that might not happen. That might not be up to us, but we got to stand in our own integrity. And, you know, I remember when I was going to Guatemala, some of you might have heard this story, but I was going through this mountain hike on a sunrise tours early in the morning. And I'm going through this forest, and I'm the end of a line of tourists. And I'm going up, and I kind of get the sense behind me. I look behind me, and it's you know, there's no one there. It's super dark. I can see the canopy of the trees. This is in deep forest, Guatemala. And I look up at the night sky, and it's really beautiful. And I take, you know, a few more steps, and I get a sense behind me. And so I turn around. Somebody's got a gun right to my head. It's a really big gun, silver, you know, it's massive. And I was like, so I turn around, look at it. There's the guy holding the gun to my face, and he's got a bandana on, and there's two guys on the other side, and they both have bandanas. So I look at that. I look at the guy to the left. I look at the guy to the right, and I just went like this. I just turned around and ignored him, and I started walking away. Take, you know, 5-10 steps, notice he's behind me again close. I turn around, you know, gun right to my head, right to my head, you know, big, like kind of Western style gun. And I see it. I look at him. I look at both guys again. I turn around and I walk away. I just keep walking. Third time, I look back around, right? Now he's kind of saying stuff in Spanish. I'm looking at him. He's saying things in Spanish. Then he takes a step back. I look to my left, and everybody was on the ground. And I'm the only one standing up. And this guy's waving the gun around. He's taking a step back, and then he fires the gun. He fires the gun, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, I should probably get down now, considering everyone else is down. And I start to get down to the ground, and I'm watching him go around. The other two guys start taking people's stuff. I take my wallet out because I don't really want to take my wallet or phone. So I take my wallet and phone, and I put it out in the grass. And they don't even come to me. They just stop at me, and then they go to the end of the line, and they kick our guide, and then they run off into the forest. And so it's a pretty intense experience. And, you know, I really wish I did some sort of cool Bruce Lee thing at that time and like kick that guy and kick the other guy, whatever. But what I did was Aikido. And here's the thing. I didn't choose this. It's not like I chose to play chicken. It's just what my body did. So my body in that situation, didn't feel fear. And I don't know why. It's probably from martial arts training and understanding I've understood that these things would happen. He's not out there to commit a murder. And if he is, then I'm probably toast. But my body didn't change. I didn't get into fight or flight. It stayed completely calm and it just turned around. Again, I didn't choose that. I just kind of observed my body get out of this situation. But my body did a pattern interrupt to the guy with the gun. Like it took the energy, right? So this guy's going this way. He sees me. I turn around. His energy is, which one's him? Let's just say he's going this way. And then I basically take the energy and then now he's got to chase me. So for his brain probably explodes, but the energy of the combat, he's now got to chase me, right? So I didn't go toe to toe with it. It moved the energy energetically. So I don't recommend, playing chicken with some guy with a gun or ever getting in that situation, but it's to represent what's going on now. It's like, how can we sit in our truth and stand up for transparency, truth, our own freedom, and it be okay to share an opinion, to have the humility to be wrong, to have new evidence, to form a new opinion. And so let's think critically about how we can think of really creative solutions so that we are not stuck in a situation where we must choose a side. And when we choose a side, then we're not cool with the other side. You know what I mean? So how can we remain neutral, but also stay congruent? It's really challenging. And this is how, it's a bit of an energetic, I've kind of said this before, Luciferian agenda by the definition of Rudolf Steiner. And somebody corrected me. I kept saying Rupert Sheldrake, and I would always forget Rudolf Steiner's name, but I think I got it in there now. Rudolf Steiner said, anything that seeks to restrict or bind by definition is Luciferian. And when you see this, like, everything's going to be okay as long as you do, let me do it with the ears, do exactly as I say. It feels restricted, right? We feel binding. And I post something that I feel is evidence and I just want to have someone's view because the more of us the better. I don't know much. So I respect your view, right? The people who are on the side of, hey, let's explore this, let's be good human beings, let's discuss this, let's work together, they will give opinion and feedback and look at the article. The oppressive people, and this is how you know that they're experiencing psychological attack, that they are under, they basically have fear conditioning, because they don't look at it, they attack you. They immediately attack you. And that's an oppressive way of being. That's restricting or binding. And, we want freedom and we want transparency. And so there's a lot of big things going on here right now. And so I'm just reminded of, the grandmothers, the Native American grandmothers, when they would have to make that choice to go to war to defend. And I am bringing up the idea that the will, the will to fight, there is a different will of oppression, right? An energy, like what you're made of, like, fight for your life, give it all you got. Or in the Olympics, or like for me as a Canadian, it's like, play like you're in the Olympics and you're playing USA, which is our number one rival, because you guys are butt heads. This is the thing about USA, you're butt heads. If the worst to play against, if we beat you, right, which we have to do, then that's okay, right? But you guys make some more excuses. But if you beat us, you're such buttholes about it. You like rub it in our face. I think you beat us one year and you're like, what does Canada have to stand on guard for thee now? It's the worst. It's like, you butts, like that sucks, So it's like saying in a few videos ago, my friend playing video games with him, if he beats you, he just rubs it in and it's like, it's no fun. The Olympics is about coming together. It's about seeing what you're made of. It's about the best of human potential. And that's what I hope our planet can get to. We need to go beyond divide each other to allow someone else their opinion, no matter what it would be, but not to restrict or bind them. That's Luciferian. And what we're observing now, in my view and hypothesis, studying this stuff from a long time, is it's the New World Order. And you can find this in the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum. I've shared the links before. They tell you what the new normal is. They're using the coronavirus. My hypothesis is to take the United States underneath the UN, so then we can get chips in our arm and all that kind of fun stuff. There's lots of links and websites to this. It's not very pleasant material, but it probably is true because you can find it publicly, dating back all the way back to the 80s, but nobody wants to look at that stuff. Just going to break up the negative stuff with some chimes, because my work and my hope has always been to create amazing material that can allow us to build an amazing culture. What if all of the people of the world work together? What if we explored the limits of human potential? I've went around the world trying to seek the world leaders and who's like if Jesus were here, I wanted to find him. If Bruce Lee were here, I'd try to find him. And I've met amazing people and interviewed amazing people who've done extraordinary things. But what can we do as a humanity? And what do we need to do to get there? And how can I or us as individuals say, hey, you know what? Like, I know that you're scared about the virus, and I know that you're really upset about this, and we have two opposing beliefs. How can I stand in my truth and not be on the other side? And I'm open to suggestions for that, because I don't know. I really don't know how to do that. I'm trying my best, and we need some amazing people, some critical thinkers to think 5D solutions. I was on a coaching call today with a really powerful woman who's going to be coming out and I think taking the world by storm when she does. She's worked in amazing situations, conflict resolution, and just as a thought experiment, she's like, what if we just split up the states into 2 states, right? You're literally 50-50, right? So the Republicans can go over here and the Democrats can go over here with Biden and that whole thing. And one can get super lockdown and one cannot get a lockdown, right? And people can see what they like. That's why people in the states, you got 50 states, are moving to different states because the restrictions are different. And if you look up Governor Newsom, and it's crazy because all the Californians are the most intense and they believe it the most. And and I was like, the ones that are open, I'm like, oh really, you think that? And I was like, what about these 2 articles about the Biden and the crime bill and stuff like that? I was like, well, like, that doesn't seem good. And so we want to get to the truth here. And like Governor Newsom's, connections, like, look up that guy. That's not a good guy. You probably don't want that guy running your business or running your situation. In my thought anyway, just from my research. And the World Health Organization, I don't want them governing me. And so I think that's it. That's what I wanted to discuss. And so, let's think creatively. Let's use Aikido to move the energy, but also have the courage to stand up for truth and humility, to be open to be wrong, to support the other side, to look for solutions, to remain neutral, but also, like, how can we remain neutral but also tell the truth? It might be come a time where we need to tell the truth, where we need to stand up for what we believe in, because I feel like that's why this oppression stuff keeps happening. And that's how, again, if it's Luciferian, because, look at big tech. I've been wiped out. So if you're still watching this, I couldn't upload videos for 2 days. I couldn't get a video on YouTube. I've been deleted from Facebook. I've been deleted from Instagram. That's 5-6 years of work, literally dedicated to finding world leaders on consciousness, spirituality, self-help. So if you're watching this, please go to mattbelair.com, sign up for the email list. I'm taking everything in-house. It's got to be in-house because I don't trust YouTube. I don't trust big tech. I don't trust that. I'm on Parler. And they said, oh, well, Parler is for right-wing conspiracy nuts. No, it's because I can't post anywhere. And if I post here, all I get is shame and guilt and all this kind of stuff. And people are like, oh, never, ever, ever is it, hey, here is a different argument that's relating to what you posted. And I would look at that and I'd be like, whoa, if it's a better piece of information, I might even ask you a question about where else can I get more of that information, So if you're into this baloney, check out Germ Theory versus Terrain Theory. Look up the Flexner Report of 1910. You want to follow Robert Kennedy Jr. and David E. Martin. You're going to want to watch Plandemic 2 because it lays it out in a detail that's uneffable with. It's just what it is. You can go reference those websites. We want to stand for community. Check me out on Telegram. That's where millions of people are moving to. They deleted millions of accounts, big accounts, everything from multi-million subscriber accounts to literally just everyday people posting the truth about what they find and, opposing some of these draconian lockdowns. They're just posting that. So if you looked at too what happened with after Biden, they said he won. The truth is he hasn't yet, like by any legal standard. He just hasn't. And what probably will play out is that, this is just a hypothesis from what I've been looking at, and I said this a while ago. Probably what will happen is they're going to win in the court because we just got to count the legal votes, not count the illegal votes. That's all it is. For the democracy and the republic to work, you gotta honor the Constitution, right? And how the voting of a official works, and make sure all those checks and balances are in play. And if there's any funny business and anybody trying to steal it, either side, those checks and balances got to be in place there, so the people of America know who won. Because otherwise, you've got a banana republic, and you've got tyranny, and you've got all that stuff. So that's just fair and good. But what is the media saying now? It's like, oh, they're trying to steal it. No. What's going to happen is they're going to position Trump, and I've already seen all the propaganda for that stuff, as a dictator. So to try a coup in January, and I think that's when stuff's going to get real spicy. It's just my hypothesis. I hope it doesn't go there, but we'll see. Maybe any number of things happen. Maybe they go through it and Biden wins in a landslide. I don't know. I'll look at it each and every day. Maybe Biden gets in and we all wear masks and get a vaccine, and they're like super vaccines. And then Elon Musk comes with the Neuralink, and then we get hooked up to the Borg. But the Borg is like the best thing ever, and we're just super stoked on it. And everyone's like, oh yeah. Or I actually thought about this idea. What if you like Biden and Trump, like they get into like a fisticuffs or whatever, then Harris versus someone else, and we're all observing this like, oh my God, what's going on? And then the sky opens up, and then we basically become self-aware, and we realize we were in a WWE, or if you're my age, a WWF event of the universe, and we were all just watching this play unfold. That would be trippy. So, so the Bhagavad Gita says that we live in a world of illusion and Maya. Oh, and the other thing, what we know, like, I'm going to leave his name out of this, but he goes, Matt, I didn't know you're so spherically neutral. And the people have used this, like, Matt, are you a flat earther? And, oh, you believe this, you probably believe in flat earth. They use that to shame and guilt, right? They love that flat earth one. Well, you know what? I'll tell you straight up, I don't know if the earth is flat or round. And why? Because I don't know that much about science. I can listen to other people, but the thing is, I haven't gone through enough to know for sure. I can listen to you and listen to your arguments, but I've never been in a plane to observe the world in its spheres, or can confirm that it's flat, or either way, because I know only my experience. That's all I know. My experience directly, and nothing in my experience I can tell you, tells me for sure that it's round or flat, because there'd be more information I need to verify it, like intrinsically. So, one might make more sense, but that's how open I am to understanding how very little I know. And Socrates has some great quotes about, how he knows nothing, or something like that. And so, but another person, a friend of mine, and, he's just like, oh, you got to know this. And I was like, well, that's where you got arrogance, because I know you don't know. I know you don't know. You're believing someone else who's making compelling argument, but you don't know. And so it's in our life, we know very, very little. And when you get into quantum physics, I've done some quantum physics stuff. I've gone through the Resonance Science Foundation training, understood some of it. And all it does is the more you know, you realize the less you actually know, you open up to bigger questions. And in the quantum world, things disappear and reappear, and it gets super weird in there. And so what the hell is actually going on? And also through meditation and going into the inner world, I've been to these spaces where it definitely opens up and it confirms I don't know anything. But what do we know? What is consciousness? What is mind? What can we be certain we know? We can be certain we know what we intend. And that's something that no matter what side that you're on, no matter what you believe is happening, what is your intention moving forward? Is your intention to be peaceful? Is your intention to find solutions? Is your intention to support your fellow man? Is your intention to make the world a better place? Is your intention to love your neighbor and to be tolerant? And so if we can really tune into our intentions and to do our best to vibrate those intentions out, just like the mandala behind me, to be in that place of humility, but of power and truth, and intend, I intend to see the truth. I intend to speak the truth. I intend to be open. I intend to be humble. I intend to find solutions. I tend to be supportive of my brothers and my sisters on the planet. And that's how we make this planet a better place, because we know very, very little here for sure. And it's a very confusing time. And so I'll leave it with that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. We're going to be going into some interesting times. Please, been deleted everywhere. It's nuts. I'm here. Hopefully I'll get to stay. Let me stay, YouTube, please. So hopefully I get to stay on YouTube, but find me, mattbelair.com, sign up for that email list, because I'm going to put everything in-house. Now I'm forced to be on Parler. So yes, I guess that's where all the right-wing wing nuts are going, because look at my hat, who knows, right? But Facebook deleted me. So what do you want, man? What do you want? You know, come on. And where else? Telegram. And please support if you can on Patreon or in the Academy. Come on in the Academy. You can pay nothing or donate. But, you know, this is serious times over here. So come on into the fold if you enjoy it. It's been years, you know, and this is the time where I could need some support to keep this going. I'm scrambling, putting all these different things around. So much. I make so much content. It takes forever to upload it. So if you've got skills and you want to help, that would be great. I could use those. I'm making clips, like 10-minute clips, sharing them around. If you've got Facebook, you know, share them around over there, stir the pot, because, you know, they won't let me stir the pot too much. But let's stand for truth, for tolerance, for compassion, for understanding. And also sovereignty, to not impose. That's how you know if you're, you know, by that definition, to be life affirming, Walter Russell, to be free, to be able to make our own choice, to be a sovereign being, not to be opposing. Even if you're afraid, you still, maybe you can't oppose that on other people. And so we got this. Big love and appreciation. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to staying in touch. You rock. Peace out.